Well, safely back from Brockholtz and Sunday stuff and all that. And I know some of you have this morbid fascination with what people buy at Brockholtz. And I did buy something today. But before we get into that, we need to do a little bit of history. Way back in the last century, there were some wars which saw the development of all sorts of strange technology, including cinematography. You know, we went from a world where cameras were cranked by hand by men who were specially trained to crank them at the right speed to make films that were then developed and shown on silver screens in movie theatres. We went from that to, by 1945, cameras being incredibly common. You know, you can now go on YouTube and you can watch all of the gun camera footage from pretty much every aeroplane that ever flew in the Second World War. They all had guns and cameras and film. And the film industry, not the Hollywood part of the film industry, but the part of the industry that made cameras and films and stuff, and developer and fixer and all of that, really came on leaps and bounds. So that by the 1950s, everybody who was anybody had a movie camera. My father included. He had a little Kodak Eastman Super 8 camera thingy that you put rolls of film in and you wound it up, and it had a clockwork mechanism that both moved the film forward and opened and closed the shutter, and you could make films and send them away to be developed, and you could record for posterity your family holidays or the dog biting the cat or whatever else it was. And this was, for the time, fantastic tech. And some people took it very, very seriously. Now, we took it sort of seriously. My father had one of those cutters and splicer thingies and little bottles of glue for sticking film together. And he could take lots of 8-minute films and make 16-minute films and, you know, clever stuff like that. Now, in my lifetime, we went from that situation where film had to be sent away to developing to where we are today, where I've got a little handheld box that I point at things and I press a button and it records images and sound and movement and cats and rapidly progressing courgette plants. And if I don't like the results of my film, I don't have to wait until the film comes back from the developers. I simply throw it on the computer and I look at it and I edit it and I can put music and images and, you know, it's a very, very different world today. Now, today I met a lady roughly the same age as me, who, on her stall at the Brockholtz at Villiers, she was selling some of the things that her father, who was much the same age as my father, had bought as a young man back in the last century. And as I was looking, I thought, you know what, that fits a need, because it has been said, unfairly I think, that my films do not quite match George Lucas or Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. And the equipment that I bought is going to enable me to make the sort of professional quality video that is going to make me mega rich, and it's going to get Tom Hanks and people of his calibre queuing up to star in my productions. I was hoping for Clint Eastwood and Sean Connery, but apparently I'm too late for that. So anyway, that's enough gabbing. Let's have a look at the wonderful equipment that I've bought. And this, of course, is something my father would never have dared do. Go out into daylight to work on film. You know, you just can't do that with old standard or Super 8 stuff, because when you change the film, you was terrified that light might leak into your camera and ruin what you were working on. Anyway, on her stall, there were these boxes. And this is a wonderful system for making your title screens. Look at this. Letters. Now, what I found particularly interesting is that the packet doesn't seem to have ever been opened. And what this is it's a black, I'll say cork board. And you make your titles, subtitles, title pages with these letters, or with these numbers. Isn't that wonderful? You can even put full stops in it. Look at that. Doesn't that just suddenly turn my amateurish productions into a truly wonderful, high quality film?